Hello everyone, my name is Lala. Welcome to my channel. I live in London for 2.5 years and today I'm gonna share with you how to rent a flat in London without any extra fees or extra hassle. And without further ado, let's get started. We're going to cover several topics. First of all, it's gonna be how to find a good location in London. Second of all, what are the best websites where you can find the best deals and flats in London. Third is the viewings. And of course, the fourth is the rent prices in London and how to actually reduce them. We're gonna start with the location. Of course, location will depend on what is your preference. Maybe you wanna live next to your university, or maybe you wanna live next to your workplace. Some people prefer to live in a very lively place where there are a lot of restaurants and bars around, and some people prefer really quiet areas. It really depends and vary on your personal preferences. But of course, we should think about safety no matter where we live and which area we prefer.
Safety is first.
So to understand which locations are actually more dangerous than the others, you can first and foremost ask your friends, because when you live somewhere, you know it in practice, in real life. Of course, if you don't have friends in London, you can Google it, because there are lots of websites that actually will provide you with some approximate list of places that you should probably avoid living in, and there will be reasons explained why certain places are considered dangerous and why certain places are considered good areas to live in. Also, another option which you can use is to see the difference in prices. Some areas will be quite close to the city center, however the price will be extremely cheap, so that should alarm you, because this is the reason for that might be either that the location is not really safe or that the house itself is faulty, so be careful. And of course, if you have a chance and you're already in London, you can go and visit that place yourself. There are certain things that no one can actually tell you, because they don't know what your preferences are, what you're actually scared of. Maybe you're just scared of too many people. Or maybe you're scared of darkness and the area might be safe, but it's very dark and quiet there and you just simply don't want to live there.
Darkness creeping in.
Which is the case for me, for example. I will prefer a loud area to the area that is considered to be the best, but it's dark there and quiet, and literally you can shout but no one will hear you or help you. And now let's talk about websites. First of all, you should decide whether you want to live with someone else or you want to live alone. Do you want to find someone else that probably you don't know, or you want to rent out with your friend? You should also consider whether you want to rent out through the agency or through the private landlord. Generally, a private landlord rent out places for a cheaper price. However, it comes with certain drawbacks. For example, with the agency, you will know that certain things will be done in a proper way, because this is a professional agency and they will have problems if they don't follow up on certain things or they don't fix things before you move in. Also, there are some websites that will actually offer you roommates, flatmates, etc. And you can meet people there and join their flat and basically rent with them. But again, every single option like that comes with complications, because of course you don't know the person on the other side of the deal. So you have to make your own research per flat to understand whether it's worth it to rent out from this person or not. So the websites I used personally for my searches were Rightmove and Zoopla most of the times. These websites are more focused on the flats that are rented by agencies. They do have higher prices, however, I already know that everything else will be sorted by the agency. If you prefer a flat that is rented out for people from different groups and you're not going to be the only one living in that flat, then you should go to Spare Room. On these websites, first of all, they have great selection of flats. Second of all, there are a lot of convenient filters that you can use to navigate through the websites. You can filter the prices that you want, you can filter how many bedrooms you want in a flat, whether you want to live alone or with a flatmate, whether you want to live in a female only or in a flat that doesn't allow pets, and you can regulate all of those things on this website. I personally used a lot Rightmove and Zoopla. I found one of my flats on Rightmove and another one on Zoopla. They're very similar in terms of how they work, and they are focused on the flats that are rented out by agencies. There are a lot of filters, but I personally like Rightmove more because they give you a greater selection of filters, so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of flats that are actually not relevant to what you want to rent out. By the way, let me know if you're interested, and I'm gonna do a detailed explanation of each website and how to navigate through them in the next video. Just let me know in the comment section below. Now, let's talk about viewings. First of all, you should decide for yourself what are the most important things in your flat for yourself. Even make some notes in your phone, just a bullet points on what you want to discuss with an agent when you go to see the flat. Because once you get into flat, they will talk about all these amazing things that are in the flat, and then you will lose focus and actually forget all the questions you had if you don't have them written somewhere. Because, for example, if you're interested in wardrobe or in overall maintenance of the flat, or maybe you're interested in the view from your window, once you get into flat, sometimes you will have a very short time to see the flat. In that little time window, you should be able to ask your questions one by one. Don't be afraid to ask it. Challenge the person standing in front of you, because they are professionals and they are experts in selling the flat to you, and they will talk about all kind of nice things in the flat, while they will draw your attention from the things that you shouldn't actually see and actual issues in the flat. Also, while you are in the flat, don't forget to check simple things such as whether the sink is working, whether all lights are working, especially if you're considering to take a flat in a very short amount of time. Once you're there, check everything. If you see that you like the flat, and you most probably will get it, make sure you check the curtains, make sure you check whether the wardrobe works, because once you settle your contract, you will actually be able to negotiate these things with the agency, and also put forward your conditions that you're only gonna get flat if these things will be fixed or if the price will be reduced, etc., etc. Of course, it depends case by case, but most of the time they will rush you to make an offer, and you should be able to articulate and note everything that you want to be fixed in your flat, because then by the contract they will be required to fix these things. Once they rented out the flat to you, trust me, if you didn't have that in your contract, most probably they will either just stretch this issue and, practically fix it in a very long period of time, or not fix it at all. That also happens.
That's a real life.
Another point that I want to highlight is actually more related to girls. So please, 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 if you go for a viewing, please tell one of your friends where you're gonna be, the exact address, when you're going there. Let them check in on you. Of course, if you're going to see the agency or the agent, most probably nothing bad will happen to you. But if you have a viewing with a private landlord, you don't know who this person is, and no one actually will control him, or he's not linked to any company. They can introduce themselves as, Kate, and then you will end up getting there and there will be a completely different person there.
Oops. That was a mistake.
It actually happened to me once. I just moved here and I was changing my accommodation from student accommodation to an actual flat, and I went for a viewing with a private landlord. I was careful enough to tell one of my friends where I'm going, but once I got there, I had a wrong vibe since the first minute, and I just wanted to leave. And at some point I got so nervous that I told this person that I'm gonna get in contact with him, but I needed to go out of the flat. Also, please be careful of private landlords that will ask you for a cash payment.
It's a scam.
It is not a scam.
They're not gonna make a contract with you. And actually that was the point that also scared me away from that flat, because this person actually told me that they want me to pay cash, and I was like, no,
No. That's not gonna work with me. Please find another silly person who's gonna agree to that.
And also just just go over the flat. Just make sure you know what you're taking on, because most probably your contract will last for at least 1 year and you're not taking it for a cheap price. So you have to know what you're taking, and you know, it should be worth it. Now we're gonna talk about prices. One bedroom flat in London, you're most probably gonna end up paying from £1,200 to £1,600. That is excluding bills and council tax. Of course, you might get lucky and get something better for a better price or bargain the price. It really depends on the area that you're considering. It really depends on the situation, because for example, during lockdown, prices dropped and I actually got my flat for a relatively cheaper price than it would normally be. But generally, that's the prices, the average prices here. Of course, it's way better if you can share the price with someone else and rent out, for example, 2-bedroom flat with some flatmate or a friend you know. There are also such options where you have actually 2-bedroom flat with ensuite, so you will have 2 bathrooms in the flat as well. So you are practically only will share a living room, and then your cost can actually drop by 500, 600, if not more, which is very nice price. Now, always make sure you look at prices in the area that you're choosing. Sometimes you will just see that some flats are ridiculously expensive for some silly reasons, and some flats are extremely cheap, and that should alarm you. Then it means that there is some issue in the flat. So make sure you ask the agent why the price is, for example, so low. Of course, sometimes you might just get lucky, and if you want, for example, to find a cheaper price on the website, or to find a flat where agents will actually be more willing to discuss and reduce the price, just when you go to the website, filter flats. Just when you go to the website, sort flats by the oldest to the newest. Then the flats you will see first will be the flats that actually are in the website for quite a while. And sometimes you will even see that price is already reduced. And if the flat, for example, was posted on the website 2 months ago, you can clearly see that they struggle to find a person that will live there. So you can actually bargain the price a lot. Also, it's a good idea to check the prices of places nearby. Also, be realistic about the places that you can or cannot afford. If the flat, for example, is 1,200, you have to also make sure you remember that there is a deposit that you're gonna pay, and deposit will be equal to the price of your flat for about 5 to 6 weeks. That's the general deposit price that you're paying, and they hold this deposit for the whole period of your tenancy until the last day, and sometimes they don't return it in full. For example, if you damage something in the flat or you just don't clean it in the end of tenancy. Of course, you should also consider the costs of your moving, which can come up to 200 or 300 if you're moving, for example, with a truck or with the help of some other people. Also, the professional cleaning of your previous flat, it's not necessary to have it, but many people use that service as well. Most of the agencies will also check your salary as a background check to see if you can actually afford to rent out that flat. So if you, for example, claim that you're not the one who's gonna pay, they will most probably require you to pay 6 months upfront. And most of the times, for example, students end up paying 6 months upfront because they don't actually have a job, and most of the times it's their parents who pay them, or they pay from their personal savings. In that way, they actually reduce their risks of you just disappearing or not paying them the rent. Of course, such aspects as where you work, how much you earn, plays a big role in terms of the prices that they can offer you. Overall, renting out in London is not an easy task to do. And of course, there are a lot of issues that you will come across when you rent your first, or maybe not the first flat in London. But I really hope that all the little hints that I gave you here and the summary of everything that you will go through was helpful. And if you want to hear more, or you're interested in particular details that I discussed, please let me know in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to this channel, because I'm gonna share a lot of things related to London, the London lifestyle, how to find a job here, how to study, and things like that. So thank you for hanging out with me here and staying till the end, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye!